Esperanza 4.0 interview series. Today we have a line of eminent speakers today with us. And here we have with us Mr. Arjun Gourisaria, a luminary in the realm of Indian cinema. Sir, please do tell us, how do you like Esperanza coming here for the first time? Please.
No, I arrived yesterday not expecting, I didn't have any expectations because I didn't know anything about the place. I came because Firoz is someone I know and he wanted me to come and speak, but I am so impressed. I really love the campus. I think it's a very beautiful campus. It's if I were a student today, this is the campus. This is the kind of campus I would like to come to because it's laid out it's designed very beautifully. It has lovely spaces where students can spend time. And what little I have interacted with your faculty, there seem to be a bunch of nice people. I'm sure you have your personal takes on that. But from whatever little I've seen, there seem to be knowledgeable, nice people who are not unduly hassling you. And I like seeing smiling students. And I must confess that I have been to educational institutions where I don't see students smiling too often. And I saw most people here happy. So it's a very lovely campus. Very lovely experience being here.
So let us now get to know about you, sir.
What do you want to know?
Yes, sir. So we would really love to know what inspired you to get into this field of world of cinema, filmmaking, and what was that motivation, sir?
I think to an extent I would say it was the city I was born in. To an extent also the family I was born into. See, during our time, Calcutta was, you had all sorts of inputs from all directions. There was great music happening, there was great theatre happening. Habib Tanveer would come with his plays, Ratan Thayyam would come with his plays. The Calcutta theatre scene itself was so rich, and so we were continuously exposed to not only Indian but world music, theatre, cinema. There was the Film Society movement. So we got to see a lot of films which a lot of people now have access to because of torrent and the internet and all that, and movie and things like that. But during that time, it was almost like we were reading about films. It's like when I first saw Breathless, I think I had read everything that had been written about Breathless already. And then I got the chance to see it. There was this excitement about the arts, and I was trained in music from a very early age. So I think I am at my best and happiest when I'm creating, something, whatever. I mean, the few things that I can. I mean, I think I can create music to some extent. I think I can tell stories well. So, the initial impetus came from, I was born, I grew up in a family where cinema was lifeblood. Every Friday, we would bundle into a car, the entire family. I grew up in my mama party. So the entire family in one car, or if necessary, one car and one taxi, we would all bundle up, and it would be a huge group, 20, 25 people together. Every Friday, the Friday of new film would release, the regular Hindi commercial cinema. New film would release, and night show we would go to see. Because my mama and my Didima and everyone, they used to love films. Every Friday we would go and see a film. And so from every Friday, for me at least, it became more than once a week. It started becoming, then at one stage it became more than one film a day. So I would be watching, and I think everyone in the family and within my circle of friends, even I think before I knew it, everyone knew that this is what this chap is going to do. A film he karega on the Jaipur. So yeah, that's how it happened.
So now we would like to talk about some of your works that you've created, some wonderful works. Um, Please do share us some memorable experience working on your project Gulabi Gang, also which won the best national award for editing. Please, sir.
Gulabi Gang was, Nishtha is a very old friend, and for various little things, my name has been there in the end credits on almost all of Nishtha's films. Even if, I've done something very minor. And Nishtha would always keep saying, and she herself is a very fine editor. I think Nishtha is one of the finest editors we have. And Nishtha would always keep saying, I want you to edit a film for me. And I'll say, the moment you say, I'll edit. So it happened to be Gulabi Gang. And I was in my personal life, I was at a bit of a low point at that time. So people told Nishtha, don't take him, he will mess up your project. But Nishtha had faith and said, no, isse karwayenge. Gulabi Gang, the edit of Gulabi Gang happened in a very lovely way. And I think these things matter. People don't pay enough, give enough importance to these things. But the way we edited Gulabi Gang was, I was living in Calcutta, Nishtha was in Bombay. So either, and at that time, working between two cities where, Nishtha would continue to be in Bombay and I would continue to be in Calcutta and work, was still not technically so possible. Now it is. Now I edit in remote for some people. So either I would have had to travel to Bombay or Nishtha would have had to travel to Calcutta. What Nishtha did was something brilliant. What she did was she went to Goa. She found out a cheap place in Anjuna where we could both stay. And it was a place which had 6 little cottage kind of things. There were rooms actually, but shaped like 6 cottages with a little ground in the middle. So Nishtha took one room, I took one room, and we turned one room into the studio. So we stayed in Goa and we edited. Now, the whole feeling of that being cut off from everything, because I feel that editing to a large extent is almost like meditation. You're so immersed in your material and you're just constantly thinking about it and working on it. So being in that almost sort of retreat kind of situation where, we were in a physically very lovely environment. Every morning I would walk to the ocean and come back and all that. That really helped. And I think it was a great experience for me. And I think some of the magic in the film, from the edit standpoint, is actually Nishtha's. And I think she deserves the award more than me. But she put my name as editor because, the bulk of the editing work was done by me, but some of the magic was created by Nishtha.
So another project of yours, which is the movie called Sthaniya Sambad. Could you please tell us about that experience, sir?
Sthaniya Sambad. Okay, Sthaniya Sambad was, you see, Moinak Bishash, who's a professor at the film studies department in Jadpur. And he actually was part of the core team that set up the film studies department, the first film studies department in the country. Moinak and I were very close friends, are very close friends from our college days. He's a couple of years senior to me and we've been very close friends. We used to run the film society in Jadpur together. And we would always talk about someday we'll make a film, someday we'll make a film. And then Moinak went more into academics and I went into filmmaking. I went to the FTI. I started working and all that. But whenever we would meet or talk, we would keep talking. And then Moinak went off to do a PhD and he was in Australia. And while sitting in Australia, he found the time to actually write a script based on certain ideas that we had been talking about very, ephemerally, not specifically. certain ideas about the city, about the kind of people, about the changing city of Calcutta, changing political scenario of Calcutta. So Moinak wrote a script, and then he sent it to me, and we just loved it. And then we would work on it. You know, there were portions that I didn't like, and Moinak was also unsure. So we would read, we would come to a point which I wasn't sure of and wasn't perfectly happy with, and so we would stop, and then he would write again, and then we would. So we took our time over it. We took our time over it. Because we were producing it ourselves with our own money. So we weren't, you know, we didn't have any deadlines that we have to make it by so and so date. We took a little more time, I think, than most people do. But yeah, it was a very lovely process. It was a lovely process casting for the film. We, held casting sessions for months. We were getting people from theater background, just random people whose facial structures we liked, and so most of the people in the film are non-actors who've never stood in front of, I've never got onto a stage at school also. You know. There are some professional actors, but most of them are completely non-actors. It was great fun making the film.
So I would really love to know, I'm really eager to know actually, how do you balance your role as a film practitioner, a producer, an editor, and a musician on the other side?
I don't. I fail miserably. I chase one, I chase the other. Well, my music really suffered when I got into filmmaking. In fact, before I joined the FTII, my guru, my music teacher, he was getting ready to. He had really thought that I would become a professional musician, and he hadn't gotten. There's a form you have to fill up for All India Radio, and then you have to go and perform for them to judge whether you are all right to. So they have B grade artists, A grade artists, and so for classical musicians. And my Guruji was convinced that I should, and that's usually the first step. At that time, it used to be the first step towards becoming professional. That you would become a A-grade artist on All India Radio. You would start performing there. People would hear you, and then they would start inviting you for concerts and things like that. He wanted me to go that route. He'd gone and gotten the form as well for me to get the exam. But then I went into filmmaking, and in fact, my music completely suffered. I stopped creating music. I mean, I was part of the music that was created for the films that we were making, but I personally stopped playing my instrument. My music literally, and people would keep telling me, my mother especially would always keep telling me that don't let that go. My Guruji would keep telling me, don't let that go, because that's what's going to be with you when everything else is gone. And strangely enough, my music came back to me during the COVID crisis. I was in Calcutta, and there was suddenly a lockdown, and I had nothing to do, and I had lost the habit of reading books, and there was also, we were all mentally in a bit of a turmoil. Now we couldn't concentrate on things, we weren't getting sleep. So that time I took out my guitar again after 30 years, and I started playing again. And I started putting those videos out on YouTube. Now I keep deleting my on Facebook. I keep deleting my Facebook account and all that. So those aren't there at the moment. But a lot of people told me that during that time they would wait for my videos every evening because it would soothe them, it would calm them, it would give them some sort of grounding. But yeah, it's very difficult to balance. If you're doing so many things, it's great fun, it's exciting, it's almost as if you're constantly running. But with age, you can't run so much also. But yeah, I do try and balance that. At the moment, for instance, for the last 4 months, I've just been playing Candy Crush. I can't seem to be able to do anything else. So, yeah, given 4 months of my life to Candy Crush.
Now, sir, would you please tell since you're in this field of filmmaking, you have seen the Indian film industry, how it has evolved during the over the years. What do you think? How has been the change, and what do you also think are the trends that are going to shape its future?
Wow, that's a huge question, and I don't think I am qualified enough or experienced enough to be answering this question, because my field of endeavor was primarily advertising, and we produced and I directed some Bangla feature films. So I haven't seen the Indian film industry, the feature film industry, from the inside in that sense. But yes, there are some trends which are clearly visible, which I could talk about, but then I'm not really a knowledge base for this. So probably some of the things I might be saying might not be right. But I personally feel that with the coming in of the OTT platforms, while on the one hand it has opened up a whole new way of the long format storytelling, where you can individually deal with each character and all that. Initially there was a lot of excitement with this happening, but also what is happening now is that there is a feeling of fatigue setting in, where all the films have started looking the same, because again, to a large extent, the internet and we are constantly sourcing. So we are not, what we've started doing is it's such a hungry industry now, and there's so much content that is continuously required, that people are not really being able to give time to create something new. We are just taking templates and putting them on and meeting deadlines. So I think I think the film industry stands at also the interest, the attention span has definitely reduced, and more and more studies show that the maximum duration a film can be nowadays is probably 7 minutes or something. The moment you hear of a film that is longer than 7 minutes, you say, oh my God. So I think more and more what is likely to happen is that the grand spectacle kind of film, which isn't really just a film, it's an event where you go out to the theaters to see it. You go out with friends, and it's an expense, You go out, it's combined with a meal, maybe a few drinks. At the theater itself, you spend a fair amount of money on popcorn and soft drinks and things like that. Those kind of grand films, with people flying around and all that, those are the kind of films that are likely to become the big screen films from here on. And the independent cinema, which has always had a niche audience, it's never had a mass-based audience, but still found space in the theaters, even for a niche audience to go to. I think that cinema is either on its, it's becoming more and more difficult, which is sad, because with the Netflix kind of zone, it should have been easier to make these kind of films, but that doesn't seem to be happening. It's Netflix wants the same kind of thing that's commercially successful, and well, till such time as a break happens in the way the commerce of cinema works, I think we are looking at a pretty disruptive times in the field of cinema at the moment, and because it is expensive under the economic systems we live in. Filmmaking is an expensive endeavor. I recently saw in Trivandrum at a festival, there was a Wim Wenders film. It's a 3D film which Wim Wenders, in his old age, has made on an artist who does installation art. And the installation art is sometimes the size of one artwork of his is like one whole mountainside, one whole hillock, that whole one side of it is his creation. And Wim Wenders, one of the finest filmmakers of the world, has made a 3D film on this artist and what he's doing. And I look at that and I wonder that this is literally, to make a film like this or to even create art like this, it's billions of dollars involved. It's not small money that one is talking about. And unless there is, and we live in a capitalist society. It's money has to come back from somewhere. It has to come back. So there are commercial compulsions to the way a film works, and unless some kind of and this is an age-old question. Unless some kind of break to that commercial compulsion can be found, the independent cinema, the space for independent cinema, will keep shrinking further and further. But then independent cinema, the people who make those films will always keep making them. They'll sell their kidneys to make those films. We are just a mad bunch of people. So yeah, as long as there continues to be madness in the world, we are fine. But the day everyone becomes sane and starts wearing jackets, we have a problem.
So now if we come to talk about a session that we had today, it was a wonderful session on AI, creativity and storytelling we had, sir. So taking a cue from what you said during the session, since AI has not yet generated its own feelings, as you were saying, not yet started thinking of its own or emotions in that, would you think if that comes one day, will AI start competing? Because you said it's not started competing as...
Have you read science fiction? Do you read science fiction?
Not really, sir.
Not really, okay. There was a period when, I still do sometimes, but like I said, my reading habit has gone down. There was a time when I used to read science fiction voraciously. I would read it, because science fiction is, it started off as pulp literature and everyone would look down upon it and all that, but ultimately science fiction is one of the genres, like crime thrillers, that talk about society in a much more relevant way than let's say romance novels and things like that. So they are raising questions about the future, they're raising questions about psychology and all that sort of thing. And so Asimov's 3 laws of robotics become relevant. The moment a robot starts becoming sentient, a robot has to conform to the 3 laws of robotics. Now, I don't exactly remember the 3 laws, but they're very interesting laws. And a lot of Asimov's robot series books were on how to bend around those 3 laws. So the robot starts developing feelings, developing sentience. So from becoming a tool to be used for work, it starts becoming a friend. From a friend, it starts becoming a competitor. From a competitor, it starts trying to take over, But this is the realm of science fiction. And when that happens, I hope, I can't say I'm sure anymore, but I hope that by then we too would have grown. And if our own creations become our own adversary, we would find in ancient mythologies from across the globe, we would find ways to fight our own, Frankensteins. So it's very difficult to predict how it will happen. It seems unreal, but then imagine someone sitting in let's say 1854, if you told them something about computers, would they have believed it? They wouldn't have believed it, that something like this is going to happen. Well, it seems too far-fetched. So, machines getting emotions seems far-fetched, but who knows? It's quite possible. Once it starts getting emotion, will it feel love? If it feels love, will it feel love for another machine? Will it feel love for a human? Will the human feel love? What will happen? I don't know.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
We had a wonderful session with Mr. Gourisaria. For
Thank
more
you. I had
content,
more fun than you, I think.
thank you so much, sir. For more content, keep watching Inspira TV. Thank you.